back. Hope you're having a good day. Alright, before we get started today, I'm just going to point out that my process of bringing these trees in is I usually, where they sit outside, I'll knock around, check for lizards, look for big spider webs, anything like that that I don't want to really bring in or be part of the video or anything. And then I actually bring them either in my lanai or the garage and kind of do a second little look over and just kind of brush it off. And just want to let you know, a little lizard has made it in. I just lost track of him. There he is down there at the end of the this branch here. I'm not scared of him, but at the same time, I don't really like it when they jump around and surprise me and everything. He's not probably going to be very happy with me pruning these trees today. I am trying to make my introductions a little more quick and to the point. This is going to be a rough one to do that with. This Microcarpa here was part of a bigger clump that was taking up this whole pot, and then the middle of it rotted away. This is the larger surviving half of that, and the other side I actually have a little small pot. I have it in the same playlist as this one, and I'll put it in that playlist. This one back in here, and just didn't really know what to do with this side of the pot, and so I just kind of left that alone because I thought there was like some kind of rot in there or something. This one obviously came back great. Still didn't really know what to put over here, and so I just have a couple of things over here. First off is my Campeche, which it's definitely time to prune this guy. You guys can probably tell. I mean, the trunk is only that big right there. You guys will get a better look in a minute, but it's got all this canopy going on out here. So it was repotted about 1.5 years ago, and if you can imagine, I used to have this sitting like on a piece of concrete, almost if you could just picture like just sitting on a sidewalk, and I'd actually have rocks around it to keep it from blowing over, so I could just go ahead and let it get a canopy like this, and I wouldn't have to worry about the wind catching it because I had the rocks piled around it. But the pot before would actually drain really well on that concrete, where this one just has drainage holes kind of just flush with the bottom of it, and it wasn't really draining all that great. And I started getting a little worried about that because every time I noticed that if I picked it up and moved it, it would actually, drip water out of the bottom. And I put it in the corner of this pot just one day, just kind of, I didn't really have anywhere else to put it, and it's grown itself in there pretty well. And then I've got this Microcarpa here that's just in this odd container, and it was an aerial root that had kind of taken off and broken from the main tree. It had foliage on there, and it's just one of the things of like I experimented and just kind of threw it in there to see what would happen, and it took off. I really don't know what my plans are for it. Since I have it in here, and since this thing is so heavy and so hard to move around, I'm going to go ahead and work them all today. Let's go ahead and get this small Microcarpa out of here first. Alright, let's just see how difficult this guy is going to be about getting out of here. Alright, now let's get this Campeche out of here. Alright, and now we are just left with the Microcarpa that's in this pot here. And what I'm going to do today, I've done this a few times with this tree. Probably should have done it a couple more times without pruning the lower branches. But I'm going to just cut the apex way back, just kind of almost sheared off like a hedge, and just allow some of these lower branches just to kind of come out a little bit more and give a little more of an aged look to the bottom of the tree. And also make it a little wider at the base than it is at the top and everything. But I don't want any of these branches that are kind of growing over the pot. Really would not be able to use them that way anyway. Alright, so that's pretty much what I'm going to do with that guy. Prune, defoliate the apex there. You can see very ramified up here. But just trying to let some of these kind of grow out some, let them thicken up a little bit so they look a little more natural. This is like maybe 4 trees kind of fused together. It's a fusion project I did not do. That was, you know, it was that way when I picked it up. Obviously, I mean, it was in a bigger clump actually when I picked it up. But. And the other side, I did clean out some of the lower growth down here. Just anticipating getting this in a better pot in, I don't know, like a year or 2 or something like that. It's still all right. And then we got the Campechy tree. Very hard to get in the frame here, but I think I've pretty much got it. If you got a sharp eye, you might even notice this branch right here. See how it dips down right there? Was actually resting in that other, that Microcarpa that it was resting on or whatever. That's, I had it pointing that way. I wanted it growing away from the Ficus. And so it was just kind of resting in there, and I think that's why it's oddball shaped compared to the rest of them. There's my little lizard. I'm hoping he just kind of, I gotta prune this guy off. There he goes. I'm hoping that maybe he'll climb up in here on the interior of it, and when I get done I can just kind of take him out and he'll still be on there and he can hitch his ride out. But I am going to be, there's a probably 5 or 6 branches that are growing straight up. This type of tree doesn't seem to get the same type of straight down growth as some of my other trees do. A few of these branches are kind of growing into each other. I'm going to be using directional pruning to try to get them apart. Some of them are crossing, and there's just no doubt I got to pick one to take out so that they're not crossing anymore. But I'm just going to go ahead and get on in here and give it a hard prune. See how it looks when we're done. I guess even before I got started, I could have showed you the these thorns, man. The other side here. There you go. You get it all in the picture there. And now I'll go ahead and get started. Alright, let's get a little bit of a closer look at that. My little lizard guy is still running around in here. Hopefully when I take it back outside, he goes right along with it. I did leave this just kind of allowing something to become the new leader trunk line. Really is an awesome tree. Just before I try to take him and the lizard outside, try to give you guys a little bit of a closer look at the trunk, which is one of the most interesting parts of it, I think. It does look pretty cool there, the way it's got some like a live vein there, and then some dead part. Maybe be able to see it's got a little bit of a hollow going through there. And then the other side is the clean side, but then of course that's the side that's also leaning away from you. But I do really think this is a very interesting tree. I like it a lot. Alright, and last, and certainly least actually out of that group there, I got this guy. If I try to pick it up from the edge, the pot just is about ready to fall apart. So I don't really want to do too much to it. I am going to prune the roots under there. It's going to be hard to do on camera without having to grab it on the edge and make it break up. So I don't really want to do that. I have, again, it's one of those things of not really even all that sure why I ever kept it. But once I've kept something, I got to figure out something for it. I have a couple of cascade pots that I've kind of realized that making a cascade might not be my thing. I think with tropical species in general, it can be done. And I'm not trying to sound lazy or anything, but it's just not that easy. They really just have such ample growth. I've had some suggestions of, when you go to try to make one, you could try to set it up to where, it just grows up normally and then eventually end up getting it into a cascade pot like that, which is a good idea. I feel like this trunk is just not quite impressive enough to get into either one of the pots that I have. And so I would like to leave it in here until it really does kind of almost completely fall apart. And right now I'm not really even defoliating it. I'm actually just taking off, say, the inner third of the leaves. Actually, just so I can get a little bit of a better look at it. Alright, and I just kind of got done there with the camera off. Prune the roots that were coming out of the bottom of this thing. And I think when I go to rest it back in that pot, I may try to rest it about like that. Maybe even use the edge of that pot just to kind of tilt it up there like that and allow it to kind of grow a little more. And again, I would try to clean up some of the awkward growth there, but if I do make it a cascade, I'll need a lot of that awkward growth to go ahead and bend down with it. And for right now, I'd like to leave as much as possible anyway, just to kind of get it a little more of a better trunk, since I've had it in this better soil the whole time since it's been a cutting.